This article explored how and in which way alcohol affects memory of weaknesses. The study was designed to examine the influence of alcohol on the weaknesses. So far examined the influence of alcohol on memory in general and laboratory terms, and now, in this study, occupied to simulate the situation as much as possible, the reality, a real crime scene. This study examined the effects of alcohol on memory right after the incident, when who is still under the influence of alcohol, and its effects later when the person was no longer under the influence of alcohol. The hypothesis, beside of general studies about the influence of alcohol on a variety of memory theories. The researchers claimed that drinking alcohol interferes with memory and witnesses who drink alcohol are problematic in proving testimony. Using alcohol upon memory impairs memory strong. Witnesses remember things but not precisely when a person is under the influence of alcohol. He gains less information about the incident. Another hypothesis is that is complex event witnessed less to the influence of alcohol. Participants were resorted Participants were rerouted, strong message posted on the campus. All subjects had to have prior experience with alcohol. There were 120 total subjects. Average age was 21. The study referred to things consumption. There were three groups. First group, alcohol groups. The second group was the placebo group. These groups are only things that they drinking. The thing they had things that had drank alcohol. A third group was the control groups. That group did not drink anything. The second thing is treated was the interview after the crime. Some of the interviewed subjects immediately and the rest a week after the crime. Interview some testers showed photo with the thief appeared and the rest showed picture without the thief appear in. After waiting, the subjects have been told that they should be witnesses to such crimes. They did not know that they would be asked questions after the event. They did not know that they need to remember the event. The event was filmed at the end of the event. Some witnesses were interviewed, and after a week they all were interviewed. They should have to describe many details about the event. After restoration asked they described specific things. There were no difference between the placebo and the control group. The immediate interview. The immediately interview. There was a difference in the response to action. Stories the alcohol group had less in stories than in the control group, but the differences were very small. The response to action after a week was less assertive from the immediately response to action, but the difference was minimal. The results suggest a strong connection between alcohol consumption and witnesses' memorability. In interview In interview conducted immediately after the incident, control group requested for information by 20% against alcohol group. The reason is that is because of the immediately response to action, and the subjects were still under the influence of alcohol. The two possible reasons of the low response to action was the alcohol influence on their original experiences and interfered in their recent interaction. The alcohol group The alcohol group had a difference because they were no longer under the influence of alcohol in their second interview latest recent interaction. Results exclude the possibility of the alcohol influence on the recent interaction because in both alcohol group had low recent interaction over the results of alcoholic interaction. By disrupted the original experience and the encoding of the event. The result supports that rule a recovery training in order to improve a latest recent interaction. Alcohol subjects who had immediately interview recent interact almost 25% more information in their latest recent interaction against alcohol subjects who had immediately interview. There was no impact of the immediate interview on the accuracy of the latest recent interaction. The consolation is that the police need to have witnesses immediately after an incident, even if witnesses are under alcohol influence. The immediately interview preserves the amount of details of recent interaction